everybody, it's Annika with Astro Camp again, and this activity is called Speed It Up, or film canister rockets. So NASA is experimenting with a lot of different fuels, trying to figure out the best fuel to get us into deep space, to explore places like the moon and Mars. Different fuels are going to burn and react and create different amounts of thrust. So that's what you are going to do today, is you're going to experiment with different fuels and see how the chemical reactions produce a different result using different ingredients. I'm going to demonstrate just one. You have instructions in your box to experiment with a couple of different ones. So what you will need is your film canister. You'll need your effervescent tablet or Alka-Seltzer. You'll need a couple of tissues. You can use really thin toilet paper or tissues, whatever you have on hand. And you'll also need some vinegar and the baking soda that we sent in your kit. The first thing you'll want to do is take your film canister rocket, make sure it's empty, clean, and dry, and mark between 1/4 and 1/2 inch up the side. Put a little Sharpie mark up there. I'm going to demonstrate the water and Alka-Seltzer reaction. So I've already filled up my canister to the line with a little bit of water. Next, you will take your toilet paper. I'm splitting mine in half because you really only need to do a very thin barrier. It's just to make sure your reaction doesn't happen before you want it to. Now you'll notice this is the size of the top of your canister. You do not need this much for one experiment. You're actually going to want to break it into about fourths. So you can try this a few different times. You're going to break it into fourths. You can try it a few different times. Then take that fourth and break it into little tiny ones. You don't need to crush it unless you want to. Just break it into little pieces and put it in the center. Then you take the cap, center it over those tablet pieces, and seal it as tight as you can. Now it is very, very important as you do this experiment that you never put your face directly over the canister. You'll notice I'm keeping myself back because just in case you do something wrong or the chemical reaction starts before you want it to, you do not want the thing exploding in your face. That would not be very fun. So keep your face back. Make sure you're being very, very safe. If you have safety goggles, this would be a good time to use those as well. Now, when the Alka-Seltzer and the water mix, we are going to create a chemical reaction and create a gas called CO2. It's going to build up in this chamber, and with gases take up more space than liquid. They like to expand. The molecules want to be able to move. Eventually, they're going to run out of room, and that's what will cause our launch, or the thrust of the rocket. So give yourself a countdown, but it will be a little anticlimactic. I can go 3, 2, 1, but now we have to wait for the reaction. How long did yours take to explode? Mine went pretty fast and pretty high. There are instructions in your box so that you can make this a very specific experiment. So you can measure height, you can measure time for launching, and create a chart to record all of that. So you'll want to retrieve your canister, clean it all out, put vinegar in up to the line, and then do the same thing with baking soda on top instead of the Alka-Seltzer, and compare your results. It's the same gas being produced, but does one produce a better launch than the other? What happens if you use cold water with the Alka-Seltzer instead of hot water? What happens if you fill half the canister with vinegar and just a tiny bit of baking soda? Will you get the same reaction? So you can experiment with temperatures and amounts and ingredients. Just remember those safety features. Keep your face back so you don't launch into your face. Also, clean your canister between each test so that you're sure that you know what your ingredients are and you're not mixing them up. Send us videos and comments and photos of your rocket experiments.